Well, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We are going to start a brand new series where I'm going to explain some of the basics of Social Security, from spousal benefits to taxation to some changes, and even some different scenarios when could be the best time to start Social Security. And at the end of this particular video, I'm also going to let you know about some of the changes that could come from some of Biden's proposed policies, so you want to stick around for that. So with all the uncertainties that are going on today, it is more critical now to know all of your options so you can maximize this asset. It really pays to have someone that knows the rules and the ins and outs of Social Security claiming to help you with this, because what we see, just to go first off through some of these different, I guess, main points of Social Security, and then tell you kind of what we see as being the best times, or some things to take into consideration when it comes to figuring out when should you claim Social Security. First off, I want to say this is going to be an individual situation, an individual decision as well. Don't just make this decision based off of what your buddy did, because what your buddy did might not be the right thing for you. We don't know how much your buddy's saving in money, right? It's like you can't always trust his golf score. You know he cheats at that. Don't take his word when he tells you how much money that he might be, saving up for retirement. So therefore, always consult with someone that can use your specific situation and wrap that situation into a full-blown financial plan, a full-blown retirement income plan. So to go over some of the main parts of Social Security. So if you are born between 1954 and 1960, your full retirement age is 66, not 65, like a lot of people think. That's for those that are born 1937 or earlier. Those born between 1937 to 1943 are going to be 65 and change, right? So those that are born from 1954 to 1960, it's 66. For those born after 1960, so 1960 and later, it's 67. So I would fall in that category of 67 because I was born in 1980. So that, yes, do the math. That means I'm 40 years old. So there we go. 67 for those born in 1960 or after, 66 for those that were born in 1954. Now, full retirement age, you'll hear that term a lot. That basically means that is when you can claim Social Security and not be reduced by any earnings where you're working. So more on that later. But what that basically means is it comes into consideration when you want to claim your Social Security on what your full retirement age benefit is. Your spouse could also start claiming benefits if they have a lower amount, or maybe they didn't work a lot. Maybe they raised kids. Like my mom was a homemaker. She raised us for the majority of her life, 6 kids. Let's just run through some numbers. A $1,000 benefit, if you claim that at full retirement age, that's great. It'll be $1,000. If you claim that earlier at 62, that's the earliest that we can claim, it would be $750. So it's reduced by 25%. It's reduced by 30% if your full retirement age is 67. They even hurt us even more if for spousal benefits. So spousal benefits are typically 50% of what the full retirement age number is. So that same $1,000 benefit should be $500 at full retirement age. But if they took it early, if the spouse took it early, that's going to be reduced by 35% if you're 67, 30%. So bigger, it's reduced by a bigger factor than just the single. So they kind of hit you a little bit more if you're doing the spousal. So that's important to take into consideration when it comes to choosing when to claim. Now I'm going to go through or talk a little bit about the break-even point. Everybody always has the question of, well, if I claim at 62 or I claim later at 65 or 66, 70, whatever it is that I claim at, when do I break even? When do I make up for that loss? Like if I waited until 67 to claim it instead of claiming 62, when do I make up all that I missed out on from 62 to 67? And we can run that situation, that scenario, 7 different ways to Sunday. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can run that scenario, find out what the absolute best way to claim to get the maximum benefits of your Social Security is. And it could be wrong for your specific situation, because once you start coordinating other assets, well, now you have more to take into consideration than just Social Security. You have your savings to take into consideration, which would be 401ks, IRAs. You have taxes to take into consideration. So there's a lot. You want to wrap everything into a holistic plan, because you don't want to maximize one at the expense of all the rest. So you really need somebody that can wrap all of that together. So I would say that caveat first, because just looking at a break-even calculator is not necessarily going to be the right choice for you. You have to be able to work that into a plan, or work with someone that can do that for you. If you decide to continue working, When you are in retirement, there's some things that you should understand. You probably won't receive your entire benefit if you do that, because if you are not full retirement age yet and you start earning more than $18,240 in a year, you will have your benefits reduced $1 for every $2 over that. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Once you hit full retirement age, you don't have any reduction in the amount of Social Security benefits that you can receive. You can make $1 million at your job or working, whatever you do, and you will not have your Social Security benefits reduced one bit. Even in the year that you turn full retirement age, but you haven't turned it yet, you can make up to $48,600 before you turn. So let's say your birthday is in March, and you can make $48,600 up to March. And if you made more than that in those 3 months, you would have $1 reduced for every $3 over that amount. But like I said, once you hit that full retirement age, no benefit reductions whatsoever for working. So you could continue to work if you wanted to once you're full retirement age without having to worry about any reduction. So that's one thing. I would like to go into Biden's proposal right now, at least one of them that I feel is a positive change to Social Security. And I say positive because there were a lot of things that were changed in 2015 that I felt were big negatives. And that went through very, very quickly. However, there are a lot of issues with Social Security. So one of his proposals is that right now, the way that survivor benefits work, if you're part of a couple and one spouse passes away, you keep the larger of the two. The larger of the two, that's it. And so if you both worked, and let's say your Social Security amounts are pretty similar, well, then that means you might lose half of your Social Security benefit. Even if the let's say one spouse never worked, they raised the kids their entire life, never had a job, and the other spouse had all the earnings. Well, the other spouse that did not work could still get 50%. Remember, so if the other benefit is say $2,000 a month, the spousal benefit would be $1,000 a month. Well, if one passes away, they're only going to keep $2,000. So basically, they are getting their income cut by a third, 33%. Well, Biden's proposal actually says, and this is based on actual retirement research, when one spouse passes away, the expenses don't get cut in half. Generally, you're going to keep around 75% of your spouse passing away expenses. And so that's what he wants to do. When one spouse passes away, he wants the couple, the total combined benefits, to stay at 75% of what the total combined benefit was. I like that idea. Let's put more money in the hands of retirees. I like that. He does have a plan on how to pay for that as well, which isn't, the worst in my opinion, but that we'll go through something like that a little bit later. But I feel like that's a good rundown of some basics and even what could come down the pike maybe here in a year or two to change some of the Social Security benefits for retirees for the better, actually. And we'll talk about later in later parts of this series how he plans on paying for some of that, right? And so tune in next week for answers about taxes on Social Security and a scenario where you could possibly eliminate taxes on your Social Security. And always continue, if you want answers to your retirement questions, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so that way you're notified every single week when we put out a new video, because we want to continue empowering people to live the retirement they deserve. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.